In the beginning of this film, we are shown a desolate world. Many people in the world have died due to the pandemic. The infection that eliminated humans didn't affect the animals. Now there was no traffic on the roads. Factories were closed. Due to the absence of pollution for a long time, nature brought the earth back to life. Greenery was spreading everywhere. That's why the animals were living very comfortably in this environment. Now those who know survival are alive. One of the few people we see, Addie, he lived with his mom since childhood, but due to the pandemic, his mom also died, and he was able to survive because his uncle used to send him survival books since childhood. And because of those books, Addie is able to survive today. He no longer lives in his house because his house has become a mess. Not just his house, everything here has become so bad. He lives in a small bunker outside his house. He has some food and drinks, but it won't last long. That's why he goes to the surrounding area every day to find food and necessities. During this work, it has become common for him to find dead bodies in the houses. Addie is also a lonely person living in his area, and he has searched his entire area. In his area, the things he needs have now run out. He only has a cycle. He doesn't want to go far because he is afraid that if he finds a person, when he goes far, maybe he will starve and eliminate him. Poor Addie was very bored with his life. He couldn't even run his mobile to pass the time because there was neither electricity nor its makers in the world. He had read all the books he had, and now he does gardening to pass his time. After a lot of hard work, he was able to grow some vegetables, and that's why he was very happy. At night, he lies under the moon, and suddenly he hears some strange sounds. He goes back to his bunker in fear. In the morning, as per routine, he took his cycle and went out in search of necessary things. He found a small solar panel on the roof of a house. He becomes happy to see it. He brought it home and charged his phone with it. After charging the phone, he listens to songs and enjoys as much as he could. After that, he watches his mom's video on the phone and gets very sad. He was watching his mom after a long time, but still couldn't talk to her. He watches these videos until his phone turns off. After that, he goes back to the garden and finds out that the voices he heard at night were of animals. Those animals had destroyed all the vegetables he had grown. After seeing all this, he does not understand anything. All his hopes were now over. He now collects the seeds of these vegetables. He could have grown vegetables again from them, but again waiting for so long to eat. This thought makes him very angry, and in anger, he hits the axe on his own feet. His leg starts bleeding, which increases the chances of infection. He could have died. That's why he takes out some of his survival books and makes medicine for himself and puts it on his wound. At night, he looks at his uncle and aunt's photo and thinks that they must be alive too. I have come to survive because of them, and they must be surviving so well. He now thinks that, why don't I go to them too? Life may be a little easier like this, but it was difficult to do this through a cycle. He makes a plan first and decides a route by following which he will reach his uncle's house, which can take 2 weeks if everything goes well. This night was now very difficult for him because he had to leave his house where he had collected a lot of things. Anyway, he leaves the next morning and used to ride a cycle from morning to evening. At night, he used to sleep in a tank, and he was using the things he had to eat on the way. And the good thing was that if Addie found a building on the way, then some things would be arranged from there too. Everything was fine for a week, but one night when he wakes up, he sees that the deer has ruined all his water. In addition, his solar charger has also been broken by the deer, with the help of which he was able to charge his phone. Seeing this, he gets so angry that he shoots all his pistol bullets in vain. After it, he regrets a lot of what he did. He kept moving forward and found a river on the way, seeing which he is very happy because the water was arranged again. After collecting water, he left from there and climbed a rough road. He was cycling very fast. Suddenly, his cycle falls into a pit. This pit was covered with some things which clearly meant that someone had made this trap. He also tries to get out of this pit, but fails. He lit a lot of firecrackers that someone would come to see him and help him, but no one came. In the morning, he notices that someone is watching him. Addie shoots him without thinking. The person who was here was a girl, but she escaped from Addie's bullet. This girl says to Addie, "You give me your weapons, I will help you to get out of this pit. First, Addie does not listen to her, but when he feels that he has no other choice than this, then he gives the gun to that girl. But he is not so stupid that he gives the gun to that girl with bullets, and that girl eliminates him. After taking the gun, this girl, Ava, says to Addie, "You prove that you are not an infected person." On this, Addie puts his shirt up and shows him that there was no mark on his body due to the infection. Ava also shows her body and convinces her that she also has no kind of infection. Ava now takes Addie out of the pit and asks him to give her bullets, but he refuses. They go to sleep, and the next morning when Addie wakes up, Ava had a knife on his neck. She was asking about the bullets. As Addie tells her about the bullets, she puts the bullets in the gun and runs away. Addie did not understand why Eva did this. Suddenly, he hears the voice of 3 people, and he understood that Eva ran away from these people. The 3 men had weapons, and these 3 were looking very cruel. To escape them, Addie hides in bushes. On the other hand, Eva was on the tree, and she had pointed a gun on all 3 of them. They saw Addie's camp here. They wanted to find out who would have been in this camp. Addie thinks that by finding out the owner of this camp, they will reach Ava sitting in front of the tree. Her life will be in danger, so he quickly makes a mark on his body like an infection through some flowers and goes to such a place and lies down where they saw him. When they come close to him, they think that Addie is dead due to infection. This means Addie's plan worked. Now, because these men had found out about the camp, so they left from there. Addie and Ava set up their camp again, and here Addie found out that Ava was pregnant. He asks Ava about her husband, to whom she says he is dead. They hide in the ruins to escape those men while they were eating their food. Addie goes from far away and arranges 2 cycles, and he decided that now he will take Eva with him. Half of the journey was done by Addie. Now it took him only 1 week to go to his uncle, but Eva was not ready to go with him because, according to her, the area where Addie's uncle lived was not safe at all, but Addie had full trust on his uncle. He says to Ava, "If you don't come with me, it's okay, but I will definitely go." Now, because Ava had no other option, she also agreed. They both leave. Ava didn't know how to cycle well, so it took them a lot of time, but Eddie supported her. Now their routine was that they used to cycle all day, hunt a little, and cook their prey at night and eat it because the food they had before was looted by those 3 robbers. Addie was still happy because at least he got a companion in the form of Ava. Addie started liking Ava. That's why now everything was beautiful for him. But he was unaware that those 3 bad guys were still after him. Addie was taking a lot of care of Ava, so Ava also started liking Addie. On the way, Ava and Addie get a pond. Addie jumps into the pond for swimming. When he swims and comes out, he sees a companion of those 3 men lying behind him who asks him about Ava and says, "We have nothing to do with you. Just tell us about Ava and hand over Ava to us. We will not eliminate Ava because Ava is working as a resource for them. They will eat the baby that will be born of Ava." Addie had now understood that Ava was running away from them because they were doing injustice to Ava. That man talks to Addie again. "If you love this life, then leave Eva, or else we will eliminate you because in the game of survival, there is no competition." Despite such bad things, Addie is not afraid. He takes Ava and keeps moving towards his destination. Finally, after a few days of travel, they reach their uncle's house. Ava was very happy to reach here because now she was getting a bed to sleep and some food to eat. But here, Addie was very worried because he had not seen his uncle at home yet. When he comes out of the house, his fear turns into reality because his uncle was also dead and he had a grave outside the house. His last hope is also gone. He had turned hostile to the 3 men based on his uncle. Addie is now sad and worried about all these things. He goes to Ava and asks the reality of those men. Ava does not hide anything at this time and tells him that when their brother was doing injustice to her, she eliminated him and ran away. These 3 kept following her, but Ava did not tell Addie anything, and that's why there is a fight between the 2 of them. Ava kept crying, and Addie took some of his stuff and went out of the house where he now faced those men. Those 3 men put a gun on Eddie and tell him to hand over Ava to us. If you want, we can also share Ava because this is the new rule of this new world, but Eddie did not want to join them in their bad intentions. He runs away from here to save his life, and before running away, he shoots a bullet in the air so that Ava wakes up and saves her life. Here, Addie, who was trying to run away, a man catches him, And before he eliminates Eddie, someone comes from behind and eliminates this man. It was Addie's aunt. Now there were two men left, one of whom had reached Eva, and the other was running towards him to eliminate him. That in the middle he gets stuck in a trap set by the aunt, and the poor man dies there. Now Addie and his aunt go to save Eva, but a bad man standing far away from Eva shoots him. It hits Addie aunt's shoulder. That man may eliminate Addie by shooting another bullet, so Addie runs away from there, and taking advantage of the opportunity, this man starts to vent his anger on Eva. He kicks her belly. Addie, who was watching all this, now makes a little noise and distracts this bad man, and as the opportunity comes, Eva shoots an arrow from behind and ends this man. Finally, all the danger is over. Likewise, Addie, Eva, and their aunt start living together as a family.